I accept that I may never fully heal from long COVID. I accept that I may be dizzy forever. And maybe the dizziness will never go away. I accept that maybe my long COVID symptoms may never fully heal. I accept that maybe my heart will always beat a little bit differently. I accept that maybe when I walk, I'm always going to have a little bit of balance issues. I accept that maybe these pins and needles will always be a part of my life. And I love myself despite all of these things. I'm still worthy of having good things come into my life, despite my limitations and my imperfections. Well, that's today. But yesterday, I was kicking, I was screaming, I was raging, I was having trauma crying, I was having a temper tantrum because another disappointment came on my path, one that I thought that I was going to be able to do and was really looking forward to. And because of my heart, I started having pretty bad AFib heartbeats and decided I needed to cancel what I was so looking forward to. And it was just another thing that I wasn't able to do. And after the past year and a half, you could just chalk them up. There is probably a list of 100 long, all the things I've had to cancel and say I can't do. And I've tried to get a healthier perspective about these things that I can't do. Thank goodness for therapists and good therapists. I've been able to reframe these to not failures, but to me taking care of myself in a healthy way and understanding that these things don't necessarily have to be permanent, that I cannot do, but they're just temporary. So thank God for good therapists. I've learned through other dark nights of the soul that you can't hate yourself into health. You can't resist yourself into health. I had a divorce probably 15 years ago, and I had put on quite a bit of weight and had a lot of aches and pains from just the stress of the whole experience. And it took quite a long time, but I loved the weight off of me, and I loved the pain off of me. It took a long time, a lot of meditation, a lot of visualization, but there was a lot of love and acceptance of what I didn't want. And that seemed to work a lot better than hating myself into losing weight and losing pain. So I'm taking those lessons and trying to apply them into this long COVID experience now, where sometimes I feel like a fish on a hook and I'm just fighting, and then I play dead, hoping that I'll get off the hook, and then I fight, and then I'll play dead, and then fight, and then finally the ultimate surrender. I'm just not getting off the hook. And unfortunately, with long COVID, I'm just not off the hook yet. And I've got to surrender. And it is the hardest thing to do when you just want to get on with your flipping life. You want to be like everybody else. You want to travel. You want to plan trips. You want to plan outings with friends. You just want to be normal. And unfortunately, I'm still on the hook. So that's where I'm at. I seem all zen right now, but if you would have seen me for the past 48, 72 hours, you would see a mess of a person. One thing I'm having to really learn from this experience is I've always thought that I've had to show up perfect for everything. I can't come to work unless I'm perfect. I don't know what else. I can give an example for relationships. I can't show up unless I'm perfect. I have to be perfectly healthy, perfectly in a good place. And this is really making me look in the mirror of showing up imperfect. Because the reality is that this long COVID may make it so I forever am showing up so-called imperfect. And I'm having to come to terms with that and really truly learn to love myself and accept myself with all these symptoms and with all these limitations. And probably to learn how to heal past trauma, because a lot of trauma is coming up from this experience. And it's becoming quite a passion of mine, healing my own trauma and healing other people's trauma. I'm really looking into somatic experience and EMDR and getting certified in these things so I can help other people navigate their own form of trauma also. And coming to terms with, if I'm providing therapeutic help to others, that me as the practitioner does not need to show up perfect. And that is something that I'm going to have to navigate, because it doesn't seem like these symptoms are going away just yet. One thing I do want to talk about before I close is these forums, these long haul COVID forums, and any of these other support group forums for chronic health. A lot of them feel like just putting fuel on the fire of an already overactive nervous system. Many times I'll go into these long haul COVID forums and it'll be, the topic will say something like, vent all the things that are occurring, or if you need to vent, go ahead and vent here. And it'll say, I've been dealing with long COVID for 3 years. I still can't hold down a job. I am in excruciating pain. Make it end. And immediately I'm like, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, get off, get off. Because I can feel my nervous system. I can feel my cortisol just like coming up to my brain and spinning in fight or flight. Oh my gosh, this person's been sick for 3 years. I'm going to be sick for 3 years. Oh my God, this is never going to go away. And these forums, sometimes they are very helpful because you don't want to feel alone. But at the same time, I have to encourage myself and others to not spend time on these forums unless they're really, truly supportive. And sometimes at the beginning, you just need a lifeline and you just need others that are dealing with what you're dealing with. But once you start realizing that your brain and your body are very, very interconnected, that what your body thinks is how your body responds. And so if you're constantly thinking that I'm never going to get better, and you're just going to keep doing this vicious circle of your brain causing symptoms and then your symptoms causing your brain to get overly excited, and then it's just this vicious circle. And so I'm really trying to stay off these forums as much as I can, but it's really hard. It's really, really hard because these algorithms, these technologies, they know human behavior and they know how to make it so you keep clicking and coming back. There's a really great book called Stolen Focus that's fantastic, and I'd highly suggest you take a look at it. But it just talks about how don't be too hard on yourself if you do find yourself constantly clicking on these different social media platforms, because they know the rules of B.F. Skinnerism that basically make it very, very difficult to fight against, and they just understand human behavior from a very scientific standpoint, and it's a losing battle most of the time. Some are better than others, but I really struggle with it, and I know that I need to trust the intelligence of my body, not the intelligence of Google, not the intelligence of different social media platforms, not other people saying that you're never going to heal. But it's really hard to turn off the noise and turn off the chaos. But for somebody who's dealing with long haul COVID, our nervous systems are so compromised that we really, really have to try with all of our might. And this is another thing, I just keep getting back on the horse over and over and over again, because I fail all the time, especially when I'm having bad days, because I just want to grab onto some kind of stability, some kind of ledge that's going to keep me from falling and pull me up out of this experience. But it's not Google, and it's not Facebook. It's us. It's trying to slow things down, find things that calm our system. And they exist. Walks, red light therapy, different types of meditation and breathing. Turn off the phone, turn off the computer. Accept and love yourself no matter what. Because that's where the healing happens. Not from the resistance, not from the hating yourself, not for the beating yourself up. And I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to you too. But I'm really talking to myself. Click like, subscribe, do all the things to help support me as I navigate this road and can no longer be a public educator and have lost my job. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be doing here. I've noticed my YouTube numbers have been going down, and I don't really understand this system, and I'm also running out of momentum to want to do this on a day-to-day basis, which other people have mentioned to me that you may want to start trying to do the YouTube thing before you start investing in any kind of expensive gear, because you may not like it. And I'm finding that my excitement has dwindled a little bit, but I'm going to keep trying to come back at least once a week and put some kind of content out there about long COVID. But I'm understanding what they're talking about now, because the luster has kind of died a little bit. But I also do find this very therapeutic to just talk about my experience, and then hopefully if there's other people out there with long COVID that can relate to this, again, put a message in the box. I'd love to hear your experience. All right. Much love.